A warrior in a high-tech suit stands amidst chaos, watching an explosion as a holographic interface activates around him. He suddenly realizes the solution, exclaiming that the final piece of the puzzle is now solved. Standing in a vast, crumbling hall, he prepares to act, surrounded by glowing embers and smoke. The young man raises a futuristic weapon, focusing his energy as blue light swirls around him. A bright column of light erupts from the ground as his two companions stand beside him, ready for the final step. With a confident smile, he tells his allies they should open it together to finally end the anomaly, but his companions, a silver-haired woman and a bearded man, remain silent with serious, unreadable expressions. He turns to them, asking why they are just standing around instead of helping him with the device. The bearded man smirks and offers a simple apology to his boss, his tone lacking any sincerity. He then reveals that they have no intention of ending the anomaly apocalypse, shocking his leader. He explains that a single crystal ore is worth more than his old salary, making this new world too profitable to lose. The woman agrees, holding a glowing crystal while adding that the Lord of Anomaly promised them eternal glory and wealth. The young warrior grits his teeth in anger, realizing his own teammates have just betrayed him at the most critical moment. A system notice appears, announcing that the anomaly game time has ended and the challenger has failed and will be punished. He looks up in frustration, cursing his luck as he realizes he has run out of time because of their betrayal. With no other choice, the hero leaps away, attempting to escape his imminent punishment. His former allies watch him flee, with the woman calling his escape pathetic as the bearded man agrees. And despite the dire situation, the warrior remains composed, turning his back to his enemies as he escapes. He glances over his shoulder with a slight smile, suggesting he may have anticipated this or has a plan. His expression shifts to one of fierce determination, ready to face whatever comes next, even alone. A massive, shadowy beast with glowing purple eyes confronts the warrior, calling him Lin Liao and a mere ant. The monster offers him a final chance to surrender the crystal ore and swear loyalty to save his life. Lin Liao defiantly looks up at the Lord of Anomaly, scoffing at the demand that he should swear loyalty, and so yells that it will only happen in the beast's dreams as he lunges forward, preparing to strike. The creature grins menacingly, accepting his defiance and promising to grant his wish to die. And a powerful beam of crackling purple energy erupts from the monster, heading straight for the young man. Lin Liao screams in agony as the immense energy blast completely engulfs his body. He is lifted into the air, powerless against the overwhelming electrical force coursing through him. Watching from a distance, his former ally yells out a warning, worried the attack will destroy the ring holding the crystal ores. The young warrior spits blood, refusing to accept his defeat as the purple lightning tears him apart. The ring on his finger suddenly glows intensely, emitting a swirling vortex of purple and white light. He finds himself floating peacefully in a cosmic space, surrounded by a swirling blue galaxy. His body drifts backward into the celestial void, limp and lifeless as the light consumes him. Suddenly, he jolts awake with a loud scream, finding himself back at a desk in a familiar classroom. And a female teacher turns around and sternly asks Lin Liao why he is screaming in the middle of her class. He stares at her in shock, recognizing Teacher Wang and questioning how she could possibly be alive. The young man insists this is impossible, telling her that she died 10 years ago. Annoyed by his strange outburst, the teacher furiously tells him to get out of her classroom. Standing alone in the school hallway, he looks up at a digital clock hanging on the wall. He realizes he has been sent back in time May 2026, the very day the anomalies first appeared. On that fateful day, anomalous beasts emerged from rifts and began attacking all living things. Their goal was not to kill, but to feed on their victims' terror and despair. The monster's true purpose was to extract powerful human emotions. These emotions were then condensed into ultra-rare anomaly crystal ores, which became the new world's ultimate resource and currency. Humanity was initially helpless against the onslaught, and nearly 90% of the world's population was wiped out. Lin Liao became the leader of the resistance army, but he was ultimately betrayed by his most trusted subordinates and killed. He now realizes his self-forged ring not only stored a vast amount of crystal ores but also rewound time by 10 years. Vowing never to trust anyone so easily again, he resolves to defeat the Lord of Anomaly and build his own empire. Just as he solidifies his new goal, the clock strikes noon, marking the exact moment the apocalypse begins. A loud rumble shakes the school, and Lin Liao calmly stands in the hallway, knowing exactly what is happening. He and his classmates look out the window to see fiery meteors crashing down upon the city skyline. While other students wonder if they are seeing launching rockets, the young man remains silent, aware of the grim reality. He feels a tinge of regret, knowing he is powerless to save any of them at this moment. The entire city is instantly engulfed in chaotic energy, sealed off from the rest of the world by the anomaly. A deep fissure suddenly tears through the street, trapping a terrified young man who appeared out of nowhere. His hand begins to transform, his fingernails sharpening into long menacing claws. A massive lizard-like monster appears before him, surrounded by smaller winged beasts as the street burns. The terrified civilian stands frozen on the cracked pavement, unable to comprehend the horrifying scene. Another student screams in terror at the sight of the monster, yelling for everyone to run for their lives. But it's too late as the giant creature opens its massive jaw, ready to devour its helpless victim. As the city burns, a young man seeks refuge inside a large empty cold storage building. Inside, Lin Liao sits calmly on the floor with an axe by his side, patiently waiting for the next phase to begin. He knows the Anomaly's initial hunt is over, and the dreaded corpse tide is what comes next. After collecting fear, the beasts leave zombies to attack survivors, but this only yields one type of crystal ore. To obtain rare emotions, the Anomalies organize a game using survivors as pawns. They use generous rewards to entice the remaining humans into producing a wider range of emotions for them to harvest. The young man's goal is to survive long enough to be summoned into this very Anomaly game. Once inside, he plans to turn the tables on his otherworldly captors and seize power for himself. Suddenly, he senses a disturbance nearby, interrupting his quiet meditation. And elsewhere in the building, a man and a woman are trapped behind a locked door, the man growing frustrated, and the terrified woman asks if they are gonna die. But her companion tells her not to worry as he looks for a crowbar. Lin Liao realizes they are hiding in a room full of resources key to defeating an iron-armored lizard, and he cannot let them have it. He also knows the racket they're making will attract zombies, so he decides to take the initiative. Crouching down, he places his hand over the simple axe, channeling a glowing golden energy into it. The weapon glows brighter as he infuses it with power from the crystal ores stored in his ring. He stands, hoisting a newly forged ornate battle axe over his shoulder, ready to stretch his legs. Meanwhile, the man finds a crowbar, preparing to pry the door open while the woman shivers in fear, and she suddenly looks up with a start, her eyes widening as she hears something approaching from the darkness. A terrified scream escapes her lips as she sees what is coming down the long, dark hallway, and she points frantically, screaming that they are coming as two mindless zombies shamble toward them. With wide dead eyes and a gaping mouth, a zombie lunges forward, its only instinct to attack. The creature's teeth are stained with blood as it closes in on the terrified survivors, and so the man in the suit desperately tries to fend off the undead with a crowbar as the woman behind him screams in terror, and so he yells for his companion Wenwen to run, trying to create an opening for her to escape the hallway. As her protector is overwhelmed, the young woman runs down the corridor, crying out for help. Just as she runs past a doorway, a hand suddenly reaches out and grabs her arm, stopping her in her tracks. Lin Liao appears, covering her mouth and warning her to be quiet unless she wants to attract an even bigger horde. And so, his warning is timely, as a new group of zombies shuffles toward them from the end of the hall. With a flash of red light, he swings his axe, swiftly dealing with the zombies that were attacking the other man. And he stands calmly with the girl behind him as the bodies of the defeated undead fall to the floor. He notes that his current body isn't tempered by combat, but is more than enough to handle these weak foes. The young woman stares in disbelief, completely stunned by how he took out so many zombies in an instant. And so meanwhile her companion is still struggling with two zombies, yelling at the newcomer to help him. The warrior glances over with a cold expression, his powerful battle axe glowing with crimson energy. In a single fluid motion, he unleashes a powerful strike that slices through both of the remaining zombies. The axe stops just short of the survivor's hand, having saved him from certain death in the nick of time. The man can only stare in shock as Lin Liao stands over him, holding the axe and looking impossibly strong. And so he then calmly tells the two that the cold storage is his now, and they should find shelter elsewhere. As he closes the door, Wenwen pleads with him to wait, suggesting they team up to watch each other's backs, and he coldly rejects her offer, stating that he has no need for anyone to watch his back. The girl tries to convince him, suggesting that a strong man like him needs a woman by his side to help him relax. And so Lin Liao smirks, asking if she isn't afraid to hit on him right in front of her boyfriend. She quickly denies it, claiming they are just ordinary friends, and looks to her companion, Xu Ming, for confirmation. Xu Ming grits his teeth and reluctantly agrees, confirming that they are indeed just friends, and she then asks again if he will let them in, promising that he will not regret his decision. The warrior smirks and agrees to let her come in, but tells her that her male companion is not necessary, and Xu Ming objects immediately, insisting that the two of them are a pair and must stick together. The girl quickly adds that it wouldn't be right to abandon him since he saved her, claiming she is a very loyal person, and she happily thanks him, promising to follow him for the rest of her life and never betray him. Lin Liao finds this amusing, noting that she and his former traitorous teammate say the exact same things. He relents and lets them both inside, telling them to do whatever they want as he walks away. Once inside, Xu Ming questions if she really plans to sleep with the stranger, but she calls him an idiot for believing her, and she reveals her plan is to get inside, keep the zombies out, and then work together to take him down. And Xu Ming has his doubts, questioning if they are really a match for someone who took out several zombies so easily, but she reassures him, explaining that all the power comes from his axe and without it, he is just a normal guy. Her companion hesitates, pointing out that the warrior did save them, and an extra friend could mean extra hope. She scolds him for being naive and asks if he was planning on giving her up to the stranger, and she then promises she would never let another man touch him, caressing his face to win him over, and so her words finally convince him as he gives in with a soft hum of agreement. As the two survivors plot against him, Lin Liao sits calmly in a corner, already aware of their intentions. The girl approaches the hero, suggesting they go to the back of the room where her friend cannot see them. He bluntly informs her that he is not interested in her, at least not at this moment, and she feigns disappointment but says she will be ready whenever he wants her, with her companion watching from afar. The other man then approaches, asking for the warrior's name. The hero simply introduces himself as Lin Yi, and he sits down beside the girl and tells her to get some sleep, as the night is going to be a long one. Taking this as her chance, she signals her accomplice to attack while she reaches for the battle axe. Her companion yells a false apology as he leaps down from a pile of boxes, swinging a metal pipe at the hero's head, but the warrior dodges the attack with ease, and the pipe smashes harmlessly into the concrete floor. Lin Yi gets to his feet, calmly facing his attacker who prepares for another strike, and so the man's eyes are wide with a crazed look as he readies himself for the fight, believing he has the upper hand. But the hero remains completely unfazed, having seemingly anticipated their betrayal from the very beginning. Meanwhile, the girl struggles to lift the heavy, glowing axe, intending to join the fight against him. With all her strength, she lifts the powerful weapon and swings it forward to attack. However, she loses control of the axe's energy, accidentally firing a blast at her own partner. She can only watch in horror as her attack completely misses its intended target. Her companion is slammed into the wall, impaled by the handle of the axe, and defeated by his own ally. The hero stands calmly, having watched the entire, ironic betrayal unfold without moving a muscle. Bleeding and defeated, the man looks up in disbelief, shocked that his own partner took him out. The girl's face drains of all color, her eyes wide with pure shock and terror at what she just did. Realizing her plan has failed, she turns her attention back to Lin Yi, grabbing a new weapon to attack him. With her plan in ruins, the girl lets out a furious scream and charges forward with a new weapon, and so however she turns on her injured partner, finishing him off with the weapon he was meant to use. The man looks up in utter disbelief, betrayed and defeated by the very person he was trying to protect, and after her companion falls, she stands over his body for a moment before turning her attention back to the warrior, and she immediately tries to get close to Lin Yi, acting helpless and hoping to gain his sympathy. But he just looks down at her with a cold, unimpressed gaze, making her realize her act is not working. Her eyes fill with tears as she puts on a desperate, pleading expression, hoping to be spared, and suddenly, his attention shifts away from her as a loud noise echoes from the other side of the room. A heavy metal door is suddenly smashed inwards with incredible force, breaking off its hinges. Two large lizard-like monsters with glowing red eyes crawl into the storage room, drawn by the commotion. Lin Yi instinctively pushes the terrified girl behind him, shielding her from the immediate danger. The battle axe flies out from the fallen man's chest and returns to his hand, glowing with power. He leaps into action, striking the first monster with a powerful, fiery thrust from his weapon. The girl watches from behind some boxes, completely stunned by his speed and strength in combat. The hero's face is a mask of determination as he prepares to deal with the remaining threats. In a single fluid motion, he swings his glowing axe, effortlessly slicing through the other monsters. With the immediate threat gone, he calmly picks up a spray gun and a tank of liquid nitrogen. He then pulls out a glowing blue crystal ore from his ring, its energy crackling around his hand. He uses the ore to power the equipment, quickly fashioning a powerful makeshift freeze gun. The girl can only stare in utter astonishment, baffled by his calm and resourceful actions. He holds the newly crafted freeze gun, its nozzle crackling with bright blue cryogenic energy. He fires a concentrated beam of ice, hitting one of the lizard monsters directly in its chest. Before the creature can react, he follows up with a fiery swing of his axe, shattering the frozen beast instantly. The girl watches from a safe distance, her mouth agape in complete disbelief at his overwhelming power. He quickly turns his freeze gun on the other lizard creatures, encasing them in thick layers of ice. With another powerful swing of his axe, he shatters the remaining frozen monsters into countless pieces, and he stands over the icy remains of his enemies, having cleared the room of the immediate threat. But the girl's expression turns to one of horror as she spots new figures appearing in the doorway. So a fresh horde of zombies suddenly rushes into the storage room, their dead eyes fixed on the two survivors. At that moment, a strange energy fills the room, and a swirling vortex begins to form behind the undead horde. The girl stares in shock, unable to comprehend the bizarre phenomenon appearing before her. A fleshy, eye-like portal opens in midair, its strange power drawing in the nearby zombies, and the center of the vortex glows with an intense, otherworldly light, pulsing with raw energy. Without any hesitation, the young warrior calmly walks toward the glowing red portal, ready for what comes next. The girl looks on with a mix of fear and confusion as the world around them begins to distort. Both of them are caught in the portal's pull, being drawn into the strange dimension of the Anomaly game, and so from her perspective he walks calmly into a swirling tunnel of red light, disappearing into the unknown. She is left standing alone before the portal, a mysterious, ghostly figure visible on the other side. Finding herself in a new, strange space, she stumps her foot, seemingly testing the unfamiliar ground, and she cautiously reaches out her hand, touching the shimmering, energy-filled surface of the portal. Meanwhile, a group of people inside the Anomaly zone huddle together, watching as strange energy particles appear. Outside the city, a news reporter stands before a massive, pulsating red energy dome covering the entire area. She reports that 11 hours have passed, but rescue teams still cannot get in, and no one inside can get out. The military has been trying to break through the barriers since the afternoon, launching rockets at the dome. Despite being hit with various conventional weapons, the barrier shows no signs of damage, remaining impenetrable. People around the world watch the live broadcast on their phones, wondering who or what is responsible for the attack. Everyone is concerned about how many survivors are left and how much longer they can possibly hold on. With no way to help, the only thing the outside world can do is pray for a miracle for those trapped inside. Suddenly, a reporter spots someone running towards the barrier from inside the city, pointing in surprise. And a young woman with orange hair sprints down the street, and everyone realizes she is a survivor trying to escape, and she desperately cries for help, her voice filled with terror as she runs for her life. But before she can reach the barrier, a lizard-like monster leaps down and attacks her from behind. The crowd and soldiers outside watch in horror as the monster appears, and the soldier in charge orders his men to aim. The creature stands over its victim, its glowing red eyes fixed on the helpless onlookers outside the barrier, and so a message suddenly appears written across the dome, announcing that the survivor count meets the requirements for a game. And so a holographic image of a masked jester appears over the city, greeting the human friends from Earth. The jester's image is broadcast on a nearby skyscraper screen as he announces there is no time for questions, and so he then prepares to introduce the 5 lucky contestants who will be entering the weird game. 5 other survivors, including Linyi and the girl from the warehouse, suddenly appear on a strange, dark stage. The girl looks around in confusion, asking the hero where they are and why he brought them to this place. He calmly tells the girl not to worry, assuring her that the host will answer all of her questions. The masked jester appears on stage, performing a whimsical dance for the newly arrived contestants. He introduces himself as the host of the weird game, bowing gracefully to his captive audience. So with a sinister grin, he announces that he will now read the rules of the game, telling everyone to listen carefully. Rule 1 is simple: the door is the only exit, and only the person who opens it can leave safely. Rule 2 explains that only one of the 5 boxes contains the correct tool, and each person has only one chance to open a box. Rule 3 states that the game time is only 5 minutes, and if no one leaves by then, everyone will be punished. And the host adds a bonus rule: each person may ask him one question, and he must give a correct answer. The girl from the warehouse nervously asks what the punishment is for failing the game. The host leans in and reveals that the punishment is death, and he now considers her question answered. She panics, exclaiming that she was only asking about the rules, not using her one question, and Hero steps in, pointing out that the game doesn't officially start until the countdown begins, so her question doesn't count. So the jester compliments his quick thinking, impressed that he has adapted to the rhythm of the game so fast. Relieved, the girl thanks him for his help, her previous animosity seemingly forgotten for now. The host dismisses his threat as a little joke and dramatically announces that the real show is about to begin. He declares that the weird game has officially begun, and a 5-minute countdown starts on a digital clock. The contestants turn their attention to the 5 numbered boxes, knowing only one holds the key to their survival. Linyi recognizes this game from his past life, but knows he cannot act rashly, as the first person to move is at a disadvantage. A large, muscular man grows impatient, complaining that he cannot just lift the lids to check the boxes. Another contestant with glasses smirks, noting that a game like this is a test of insight into finding and exploiting loopholes. And a young woman in a martial arts uniform asks the man with glasses if he has found a loophole in the rules. He explains that since they cannot touch the boxes directly or with a tool, they can simply touch the table instead. He kicks the table leg, confident that his indirect approach does not count as breaking the rules. The muscular man is impressed, realizing that if the boxes fall, their lids will open, revealing the key. And so the girl from the warehouse is relieved, happy that there seems to be a way to beat the game after all. But Linyi remains skeptical, knowing the game would not be so easy to clear if a simple loophole existed. The man with glasses boasts about his intellect as the muscular man offers to help him kick the table, but the host interrupts, stating that their plan is not allowed because the table itself counts as a tool. The 2 men argue with the host, claiming they did not break any rules since they never held the table, and suddenly a series of glowing red slashes appear in the air, heading straight for the rule breakers. The man with glasses is caught in the attack, his body instantly bound by the punishing red energy. The muscular man is also hit, and he screams in agony as the attack tears through his body. Outside the barrier, the crowd gasps in horror as they witness the brutal punishment unfold before their eyes. The jester then announces that he is adding a new rule to the game to prevent any more misunderstandings. He declares that he has the final say, and if he says something is a violation, then it is a violation.